Hey guys, what's up? It's Johnny Glock. Happy Friday. I want to shoot a video today on some advanced stuff, and I'm just going to say right now, if you don't feel like you have the skill to do this, don't. Because it could really compromise your gun if you don't know what you're doing. So this is about the slimline models, the 42 and the 43. I have a 43 here, and I want to go over some stuff with you about it, and do one aspect of what I do to it as far as the reset is concerned. And yeah, I was going to go over trigger pull and all that kind of stuff, but I'm just going to talk right about reset. Like, you know, people get those extra power trigger springs, and it actually does help the trigger pull back. Okay, and I've mentioned this in my other videos. And you might get maybe 2 ounces or something like that in a lightning of a pull. But what you sacrifice in reset is huge. It becomes neutral. It's almost like if you're a fast shooter, your finger is waiting on the trigger, or it's just kind of slow. I know you guys have had to experience this, even in the especially the Gen 4s. They like to stick. Sometimes they just don't want to come out the whole way, and that's because one thing, sometimes it's an imbalanced spring matchup. You know, if you have that 6-pound spring and a 4-pound spring, that's a 2-pound difference, counter tension there. That's one of the aspects. And the other is just the connector pinning against the polymer strut is another one. There's a bunch of different ones, you know, stacking tolerances that can have this issue. But this is something I feel in just about every one of these 42s and 43s, and it's a specific mod that I do, and so I'm going to show it to you. And like I said, it is more advanced, so really make sure you have extra parts if you're going to try this. So I'm going to bring the camera down now, and I'm going to be moving the camera around a bit. I want to make sure that I get this well. Okay, empty gun, fire. This is an SSVI trigger. This gun is a gentleman named Nick. I always like to mention people. Nick L. from Nevada. Anyway, so it's a different. If you've ever seen this, it's way different. The housing and the trigger spring, the trigger mechanism right there are way different. You can just pop that right out. It does not have the leg that the other trigger bars do. Let me grab another trigger bar real quick. So there's the leg right there. That's what the mechanism that has the trigger spring on that kicks it up in the air for the striker to grab it again. Part of that function. And they have replaced it with this, you know, interesting little, it's almost like a new quasi New York 1 or something like that. I hated it at first, but you know, like anything, I've learned to work with it. So, and you know, when I originally felt this gun, when I did my inventory and wrote the stuff down, I knew there was. I'm like, wow, this is actually a half decent feeling trigger. And when I opened it up, I saw it was, and this is actually one of the smarter things I've seen in the industry. They have this little, that little tab coming out there, and what that tab does, and I'm going to show you here. I shot this video earlier. It didn't turn out too good, but with this system, what you have is the parallel, these parallel right here. Okay, not the actual C or the cruciform, but the parallel arms. When the gun shot breaks, it drops all the way down into this area, which would be, even on this side, it's down in here. Okay. Right there, the shelf basically. And it's really hard to get these angles sometimes, just because of lighting and whatnot. I'm going to zoom this in. Okay, this might be better. So it drops down onto there, and when the gun is reset, it has to come back over top of this. It's just pretty short and it's pretty quick right there. So when the gun resets, you kind of feel this clunk, clunk. I don't know if you can hear that, but that's literally, and that's even something that's rounded going over top of this. So I'm going to mimic it so you can hear it. And that's usually what I feel on my finger when it's resetting. It's catching on there to some extent. And there's actually very little shelf right here on this side. I'll bring it down flatter. Let's try that. Okay, awesome. Okay, so there's actually very little shelf on this side. So what I'm guessing is they have decided to fill that in with that right there. And that helps with the transition back up this sharp angle. All right, so innovative, very much so. But that's only one aspect. So the next thing is if you're going to reduce the striker spring in here, what most people, and if you've seen my internal, the video on the internals of the G42 and 43, you'll know that most of the time you take this out and it's, and I think I've already changed, no I haven't changed it. So you have the standard trigger, striker spring, and this one's even this smaller up here, but it kind of bulges like that, and it's just a heck of a really hard trigger spring right there. What am I saying? Striker spring. So basically, like I said, if the balance in reset comes from this spring that's in there and this spring, the counter tension. So if you have, only 4 pounds of force back that way to have the shot break, and then the sear's picking it up, which would be this part right here, and it has a spring attached to it pushing it backwards, then that's kind of like the tug of war. And so if it's pushing this backwards 6 pounds and it's trying to reset coming forward only 4 pounds, it's a 2 pound difference and you become sluggish, or depending on what spring. But even with that said, as I'm doing my modifications, and like I said, I do a concealed carry, this is basically a pocket gun, I build these a certain way, and so I want to make sure that that gun is really resetting, super duper aggressively, super aggressively. So what I do is I'll move this stuff out of the way. You take a pointed tool like this, and I insert it right here, and then that way you can get the spring to pop out quite easily, and you see it just backs out like that. So you see how I captured that? It's very easy to do that way. It's also very easy to. I'm actually doing okay with the there. So it's back in and back out. And then let's see if I can't get this telephoto better. And then the next job is to take this apart. So as you can see, there's a clasp right there that has to just be turned a little bit to the right in order to get it off, and it's that simple. Okay. Clap on, clasp on, clasp off, like that. All right. So the one part will go there. Let me see if I can get that in there. That's the one part, and then you're going to just pull this out. Be very careful not to break this right here. This is very important that you do not break that. They're a little bit fragile and you have to be careful. Okay, so now let me widen it out a little bit. We have this disassembled. Glock does not, or no one that I know, makes a lightened spring with this. So what you have to do is create a lightened spring. And this is going to be a giveaway here. You guys can thank me for this later if you're going to do it. But the way I do this is I'm going to widen out, take a punch, and I place it on the punch like this. And now we're going to move the camera over to this machine here. And what I'm going to do is I am just going to remove some of the material from the center of the spring, which makes the spring lighter because I'm taking a little bit of steel off it, so it can actually, and actually when it comes like into full, from here compressed to full elongation, it still stays stout because I'm hourglassing it. I'm just taking a little bit of material away from the middle, and that way it's just a good trick. They do it with I usually do it with recoil springs. I chuck them up in a drill bit, and so with this, I'm gonna make sure my monitor, you guys are seeing this. Turn this on. Now that's literally all it takes. But you know, it has a lot to do with dexterity. I'm basically putting a little drag on the spring right here. Actually, I'll take this back over here so I can make sure I have this monitored right. All right, let me bring it back down. You have to have a little bit of dexterity. It's because you have to be able to put a little bit of drag on this, on your finger while that thing's spinning. And if you look closely, you can see how instead of it being round, it's got little square edges right there. So now you have a reduced power trigger spring. And we're just going to reverse that order. Oh wait, well, I'll reverse it first, then put it together. Tighten that up. So, you know, you're just going to reverse the order. Stick that back in there like that. And then there's a couple different ways you can do it. You can almost do it like you do the get this. Like you do the striker spring with the cups, you just push down, you know, push down like that and get it on there and then just twist it. Okay? So look, you're back, you're completely back together. And it's reduced. Ta-da! And next thing is, I'll widen this back out. This. So what we're going to do here is we're going to knock this angle down right here. And we're going to knock this angle down as well. Now people are going to say, yeah, you're messing with the drop safety. I am, but you're going to see exactly how much little I take off to actually have this work properly. Make sure I'm... Okay. It's sticking in there because it's such a little shaving. And then make sure on this side, I'm trying to keep this in the camera. You know what? I'm gonna widen it out so I don't have to worry about that. So right here, I'm just taking a sliver, and I'll show you. It'll look way better on this side because now I'm not trying to put myself in a place where. And I like to use the X-Acto knife because it gives me a little bit of a, you can always see the where you cut because it comes a little bit glossier, and it gives you just enough to take that edge just off. And I'm talking, it's not much at all. Take that edge off there. And you can see physically to the eye, it doesn't really look like much. You can see it's got a little round to it there. On this side, it's got a little round to it. But, you know, when you're designing this trigger correctly, and you know damn well you're going to be, you know, actually purchasing, where's the trigger bar? You're going to have, you're going to be sitting on this thing right there. It doesn't really matter, you know, it's not like, okay, so I know I'm sitting here on these shelves, so if it does drop, it's not going anywhere. You know, it's basically just takes the edge off of that. And then you're going to reinsert the spring. And we're using this tool. Most of the stuff I have to kind of make myself. And this goes back in there. Very simply. Push. And back down. Captured. Okay? So it's back together like it was. Alright, and then it's simply a matter of, you know, if that's the only mod you're going to do, you know, putting the connector back in and putting it back together, and then you will feel it just smooths out that reset. Not to mention the reset is now going to be blasting back in my finger. It's kind of hard to show that kind of stuff, you know, on a video. Look at how this feels. You know, you really can't do that. But nonetheless, I want to feel it. So I'm going to put this all back together. Trigger pin. Yeah, now see the pressure coming out of this, and when I shorten it, it's just going to be bam. It's literally pushing my finger back out. I designed a gauge. You know, I reversed one of these gauges so I could actually measure trigger spring return. Like, so everyone wants to know what the trigger is breaking at, but the one I made actually, that might be here somewhere. I reversed it. Oh, here it is. So what I did is I reversed it, so when I'm holding the trigger there and I'm backing it off like this, it'll go click and reset there, then I know it reset at 1.5. So it's, as you can see, this is backwards to the other one. Because I'm that guy. Yeah, so basically I hold it in reset and then I come forward like this and let it, let's see if I can do it with this really quick. Sometimes it's hard to do on camera just because it's it all depends on what, you know, what. So I'm here at 2 pounds and I start to release like this. Yeah, see, it's not working. Oh wait, not working because I didn't cycle it. So, alright, so we're holding at 2 pounds and I'm coming forward. And so that's at 8 ounces, plus you got to add this, so it's about 1.33 pounds pressure back out for reset. You know, so I got to make sure these guns, I want to make sure for a carry gun that it's just blast, you know, it's coming right back out. And that's very important. You know, if most people, you know, shoot from reset after they've been shooting for a while, you know, they learn to shoot from reset. Most good instructors are teaching people to do that, so riding the reset. But yeah, that was the video. I know it might not, maybe, who knows, you guys might not be, hey, that's not that advanced, but if you're going to do it, you know, make sure you're taking your time and you're following step by step, and believe me, it will make a big difference. You'll just be like, whoa, you know, because then you don't have to worry about your finger. You're just releasing and you're ready to go, you know, bang. And like I said, that helps for a bunch of different stuff: speed, accuracy, collateral damage. So you're at, you know, more, you know, you're hitting what you're actually aiming at. And pardon me, get the teacher burp. But yeah, that's it for today. www.johnnyglocks.com. Check out Facebook. I was on this show called Front Sight Press the other day. I might put it up on the YouTube page here. It was pretty cool. A couple buddies of mine. And then the phone number is 941-376-4383. And remember, you have to call me or email me at getjohnnyglocks@gmail.com. So everyone have a good weekend. I hope you enjoyed the instructional video. And like I said, I'm busy, very busy, but I'm trying to do this as, you know, as it allows. As the gun presents something, I'll put a video up for you guys to kind of follow along with. All right, have a good weekend. Stay safe. Adios.